Great to be here. It's been just over 10 years since you were first here, back in September 2012. This is your 5th appearance here. And a few months ago, I got this strange email where your production company was asking for a small little sliver
That's right,
of one of our shows together. And I couldn't have been more excited to get it to them. We just stopped everything here. We went and found it on the hard drives. And I was anticipating this series. We obviously had to keep everything quiet. And then to watch it drop on Netflix, to see it like #2 in the world, to watch that opening shot where you're walking people through your ideas, it made me feel great.
Good.
And the fact that the whole world got to finally see 30 years of your research, and it to be so well produced. You put so much work into going to these sites. I've been reading your books for years, and I didn't know a lot of the details of what you were talking about. What's this process been like of filming it, now seeing it, and then also dealing with all of the feedback or criticism, shall we say?
I think it's the first time that a thoroughly researched alternative view of prehistory has been presented on a major platform. Of course, there are many shows which question the history of the human race. But my thesis is that we have lost an episode of our story, that during the Ice Age there was a civilization on planet Earth, which was not an alien civilization. It didn't have anything to do with aliens. It was not any particular unique race of people. It was human beings who had risen slightly above the level of hunter-gatherer. The general view is that during the Ice Age, our ancestors were entirely hunter-gatherers. And that's not to say that they were unsophisticated or stupid. Hunter-gatherers are very smart people, and we still have hunter-gatherers living in the world today. And actually, if our civilization were to collapse, which is by no means impossible, the people who would be most likely to survive on Earth are the hunter-gatherers, not us in so-called advanced industrial civilizations. I'm actually not talking about a super advanced civilization during the Ice Age. I'm not talking about a civilization that had cell phones or televisions or sent people to the moon. I'm talking about a civilization that had reached a level of knowledge that is above that we would normally expect for hunter-gatherers. And that level of knowledge includes exploration of the world and mapping of the entire world. And part of the evidence I present is ancient maps which show the world as it looked during the Ice Age, and yet which have extremely accurate relative longitudes. Longitude is a problem our civilization didn't crack until the middle of the 18th century. So the fact that there's evidence of a map-making, global exploring civilization during the Ice Age immediately suggests that they had at least reached a level of technology similar to our own level of technology in the mid 18th century, and I wouldn't claim more than that. What I'm interested in is the kind of knowledge that they focused on. There's evidence for astonishingly advanced knowledge of astronomy deep in the last Ice Age, knowledge that could only result from really hundreds or thousands of years of consistent observations and detailed record keeping of those observations. I can go into more detail on that, but it particularly concerns a phenomenon called the precession of the equinoxes, which changes the rising times and positions and orientation in the sky of constellations, because the Earth is the viewing platform from which we view the sky. Changes in the orientation of that platform change our perspective on the sky. And this is a regular cyclical process, but it's very, very slow. It unfolds over a period of just under 26,000 years, a complete cycle. And to observe that and calculate it precisely and have exact knowledge of it is not something that archaeologists believe happened until the time of the Greeks, roughly 2,200 years ago, let's say. But the evidence is that it was present during the Ice Age. It's present on cave art in the Ice Age, and it's present on myths and traditions which come down from the remotest antiquity. And I'm not the only person saying this. Professor Giorgio de Santillana, who was professor of the history of science at MIT, and his co-author Hertha von Deschend, who was professor of the history of science at the University of Frankfurt, wrote an amazing book back in the 80s called Hamlet's Mill, which documents this extremely ancient knowledge of precession. And they, as a couple of historians of science, wonder out loud in their book, where did this come from? And they can only conclude that there must be some lost ancestral civilization that had accumulated and acquired this knowledge, and that fragments of it were then passed down over thousands and thousands of years and finally entered into the historical record. So I'm not talking about a civilization that's quote unquote advanced in the way we imagine ourselves to be. I don't think we should be looking for any plastic bottles. I don't think we should be looking for any remains of motor cars. I think we're looking for a civilization that was different from our own, but that had a high level of achievement in areas that we ourselves have been, relatively latecomers to. That's the kind of perspective that I have on it. Don't look for ourselves in the past. Look for something different from ourselves, but nevertheless was capable of doing things that archaeologists tell us nobody was capable of doing at that time.
Hey, do you want to profit from crypto? Then join my DeFi Academy. The Crypto DeFi Academy will help you create generational wealth. But don't take my word for it. Listen to my students.
When I first got into crypto, I remember thinking to myself, I need to learn more. Brian Rose, learning crypto, learning DeFi, gotta do it.
I am so grateful that I jumped in and did this. I had to break through some limiting beliefs that I can do this, that I can afford this, that I can be in this.
It challenges the things that are deeply rooted within us.
Joining DeFi Academy has been one of the best decisions I have made on my blockchain journey.
This course was a life changer, a game changer, a huge eye-opener, coming from knowing practically nothing at the speed of the learning over 4 weeks was just fantastic.
The information you provided in this class was invaluable.
I feel far more confident in my next steps.
You took complex concepts and made them easier to understand.
What's different than so many other ones is it just doesn't tell you what to do. It actually makes you do it.
This is for people who are serious about becoming traders. This is the way it should be done.
I realized from this learning experience again that it is not about what you learn, but about who you learn it from.
The energy was insane. I've never experienced such incredible energy on a live call. Brian Rose, you are a legend, my friend.
It's the only thing in the market where you can get all information and learn everything what you need to know.
Everything is so clear and so well done, and I'm just forever grateful for this program.
It made me feel so much more confident about crypto than I did before.
I did not anticipate how passionate I was going to become about it.
It's also been like a big learning experience for me, not just in the crypto space, but just in overall balance of life.
What I've learned is, how to take ownership, of my life in a way that I really hadn't before.
Yeah, you can't put a price on that, really.
I would recommend it to anybody, top notch.
Excellence does not come cheap. So if you want excellence, you got to pay for it, but it's so worth it.
Pull the trigger. That's what this course is about.
You're not going to regret it, really. It's amazing.
Thank you, Brian and team.
So what are you waiting for? Crypto is happening now. Click the link below, submit your application, and let me mentor you on how to create generational wealth and build the decentralized financial infrastructure of the future.